Hello, Claret and Boozers. This is, don't adjust your set. This ain't Gary, it's Nigel. I'm standing in for him while he's away, covering his ramble or I don't know what we call these rants, if it's Nick. There won't be much Moyes out, I'm afraid, to disappoint you. But I am still Moyes ambivalent. So if they sack him, they sack him. If they don't, they don't. But frankly, I think we've all come to the feeling that they're not going to sack him, are they? Especially after the last couple of games. If we, in Europe, we're trundling along. We've still got the chance of a European trophy. People can agree or disagree on where they think that'll go and is it good for the club. But for me, stick a trophy on the table. Thank you very much. I'll shake your hand and I'll be more than happy. I don't want to see the club go down. Naturally, nobody wants to see a relegation, but if it happens, it happens. I ain't going to cry over it. There'll be a lot of finger pointing, though, undoubtedly. And there's a bit of me, I must admit, I was talking to some friends the other day where it would be the ultimate punishment for me, for the ownership of this club, to go down. And it may seem, beating myself or wishing harm to the club, but that is the way I feel. The thing about the move is, it was supposed to guarantee we'd never be relegated. And I was dead against the move. I never thought it would pan out or pan out to be what they promised. I actually did think it would end up the way it's ended up, and that it would cause trouble with the ownership, quite rightly. They're the people that oversold the move. People say that we've got to stop looking back at it, but at the end of the day, until these people sell up and leave the club, it will always be a stick to beat them with. So relegation, for me, would be like a punishment on them rather than a punishment on the fan base as such. But we would just have to take it on the chin, and people will do what people will do in that regards. I mean, if I have a look at Sunday's game against Villa, I thought Moyes set up okay. Danny Ings up front, 4 defenders. I suppose he's reacted after Johnson's bad performance at Brighton, quite rightly, where Ben was at fault for 3 of the goals, at least you could argue. So something had to give. He brings Kerr in. Kerr, you could say, was badly out of position to cut the cross out. But then again, the defending from the centre halves weren't fantastic. Watkins gets in front of Agard quite easily in a way. And Agard don't seem to really jump or react. And I suppose Watkins has a good header, heads it down into the ground as they're always told, and it goes into 1-0, which was their first attack. We'd had a couple of half chances and Benny had volleyed over or wide. It looked over the bar from where I was, but anyway. And we are a bit wasteful up front, it seemed. We had, I think, 16 shots on goal, which is not bad, really, which is quite good. And to only score 1 from a penalty, I think sums up West Ham's seasons all along. Putting the ball in the net has been a problem. And in a lot of the games you go back, you can see we've created 20 chances, 18 chances, and we're just not scoring the goals. Where it does fall down for me with Moyes is in regards to the fact is that his idea of scoring more goals is by still only playing 1 striker. There's no change to it. What we're doing is we're playing this 4-3-3. Which for me means we're too narrow. And actually, perhaps if he'd have played a 4-4-2 and actually had a wide, like bowing out wide right, but hugging the touchline as he does, but that would enable someone to support the main striker, so Danny Ings. So you could have Ben Rama as a striker. Put Bowen out wide right, and Bowen may have been out wide right to cut out the cross. Because then you got 2 banks out wide rather than Kerr was left exposed. And he was sort of in no man's land. He wasn't really... He was sort of... I don't know if he got confused and thought he was playing in a free Kerr for his position for the goal. But it definitely caused a problem. But I suppose a good response in a way. We got the penalty. I mean, if Brighton's was a penalty, was a soft. When I've looked back at it on video, so in the ground, I thought, well, that's a nailed-on penalty from our lofty position. But then when you look back at it on video, it does has a bit of the Mitoma penalty from the Brighton, which I thought was a cheap and bought. There's contact and he's gone to ground, and that's exactly what Paqueta's done. But, the ref's giving it, and if it's contact now, VAR are giving it, though, there's another reason for me not to have VAR. And we got back into it early doors, and you're thinking, right, let's kick on, but it never happened. We had half chances. Ben Ramble was the best player by far for us, I thought, on the pitch. But Moyes' substitutions are strange. When you've got I don't like having 5 subs because I think it can confuse at times. And the team wasn't playing badly, and it was an improvement. Let's face it, on the Brighton performance and even on the Larnaca performance, so it was an improvement. But it wasn't. We weren't playing that bad. But you still got to look for something different. And the problem I have with Moyes is when he makes his substitutions is he never changes the shape. And for me, sometimes I think it's the shape that don't work. So he still keeps it as 4-3-3. He brings up Paqueta, brings on Fornals. Fornals, I don't know, has had the attacking zest taken out of him by playing under Moyes. Moyes must instruct him to be more cautious. And Pablo does that well, but obviously I think it's took he used to pop up with goals fairly frequently, and he stopped doing that now. And then he brings on Cornet, which, I mean, it's a slap in the face for Scamacca when you're bringing on, but I can see why he done it. Cornet's pace was going to trouble their back, and they were playing a high line. The problem is, I think we were caught offside 6 times. I think the stats said, and I bet you 5 of them were Cornet. He just couldn't. He just couldn't stay on side. He had a couple of half chances, and the mad thing is, because of the way the linesman now flagged late, it's not until he has his shot and he's missed it anyway. It was half blocked. Then the flag goes up, and he's missed the sitter, but he's offside to save his blushes. But I think that was something actually that we missed, was Antonio's hold up play and his ability to then shrug off and bring it in. If you could have Antonio and Ings playing together as a front two, or even put Bowen wide left, put Antonio wide right, and have Scamacca in Ings, then you play your Paqueta and your Rice in the middle. It's something different that clubs are not. And the thing about it is, opposition are going to come to us, and it's almost instantly they know that Moyes is going to be playing this 4-3-3. And our 3 are quite narrow. They're not wide. So that does leave a lot of room for their fullbacks or their wingers to just go double up on our right back or our left back. In regards left back, I will say I think Emerson's been really stepped up to the mark recently. And we can only be pleased with his performances since he's come back into the team. And we've had, and not to be fair to Moyes, but not to use the excuse, but, we've had our share of injury problems. So losing a Gerd early doors, and then he came back, had another little knock, and then went to the World Cup. So we've only just started seeing the real best of him. Since probably the middle of January, when he got back into the swing of it, because he did pick up a knock in the World Cup. I know, a lot of people seem to think that if we didn't get 3 points against Villa, we're going down. I did tweet out, if we lost the game, we wouldn't be relegated. We may not be relegated, and I still stand by that. Nobody really knows whether we're going to stay up or whether we're going to go down, because it is so tight. I can go back and throw stats at you from previous seasons to bore the life out of you. I can, every time I come up with, we stayed up with 35, people will then remind me, we went down with 42, which is true. And the mad thing about that season is, if we'd have won our last game against Birmingham City to give us 44 points, we would have gone down as well on goal difference. So, and the season we stayed up with 35 points, we'd have actually stayed up with 31 points because I think Burnley were third from bottom and they had 30 points. So it just goes to show you. I think we'll need more than 30 points, though, people. I'm not advocating that that's the amount of points we're going to get. In fact, I've just recorded this week's first episode of More Than Just a Podcast, and on there we all go through the upcoming games, and where the results will come. I naturally prefer to look on the brighter side, and maybe a bit madly, I think I predicted that we are capable. I think which we are capable of in the running is picking up 20 to 22 points. Now I can see there will be a few people banging in the comment section. He's gone mad. He's off his head. But I do that, and why I see that is because there have been seasons in the past where we have had these late runs. The season we went down with 42 points, we looked to be dead and buried come end of February, beginning of March. But then we went on this late run where we picked up like 21 points in 10 games. The Great Escape season 2007, yes, we had Carlos Tevez, but who finally kicked in a player undoubtedly, a world-class ability. But we picked up 21 points in the last 9 games. So it is possible, it is doable. And even when you look at the teams we got to face, let's start. We got Southampton. Now, good point, I suppose, for Man United, but Man United were down to 10 men. Let's see them. We sort of blow hot and cold against Southampton, but I still think that we've got enough in this team. We can beat Southampton. We will get victories. We showed against Forest. Forest were doing well, and then we beat them 4-0. So we can get a victory against Southampton. We could nick a point against Newcastle. They're blowing hot and cold at the moment. Though they're not losing, they're hard to beat. But we got a point up at Newcastle. We could definitely get a point now. So that's 4 points. Then you go into... we've still got the Man City game that we're not playing. I would shrug that down as a defeat. We've got Arsenal at home. I could see something happening. Or put nothing, sorry. I don't think we'll get anything there. The Man United game at home, though, it's the type of game we win. 2007, we beat Arsenal and Man United, both home and away. So we took 12 points off of those two teams, and they were the top 2 teams in the division in 2007. So, again, even though we weren't a great team, we still had the ability to pick up points. And I think this, strange things do happen in football, and it is all possible. Whether it's probable or not, that's what we're here to all argue about, isn't it? I'm just saying to you what's possible. We got Palace, we got Fulham away. There's 4 to 6 points to be had there, in my opinion. We also then, I think madly, it could come down to as well the last 2 games. Leeds at home, Leicester away. Push comes to shove. 2 teams that are struggling, and I think we'll do them. I think Leeds will be the team that go down because I think defensively though, what saves us realistically is we haven't conceded a lot of goals. So there's still like 12, 13 teams that have conceded more goals than us. So we can start getting goals. And that's why I would urge Moyes, just switch it, just change the opposition may not expect us to play in 4-4-2. Just try it, see what happens. You don't know. At Liverpool away, he played Antonio and Scamacca for the last 20 minutes. And we battered Liverpool at Anfield. We lost the game 1-0. We were unlucky not to get something out of it. I mean, we got Liverpool to come to Stratford. We could get a point against them. We got Bournemouth away. I think there's 3 points. Yeah, they've done well against. They've changed it around a bit, and they've done well against Arsenal. They were unlucky, and they got a great win against Liverpool. That I do think if Liverpool had scored that penalty, that they'd have then gone on to win the game. But that's just guessing, isn't it? And which is what we all do, because no one really knows what's going to happen. We don't know how many points it's going to be. It could be 34 keeps us up. It could be we need 38. I still think that we're capable of achieving that in the games that we've got left, even if we just beat the teams that are in and around us. They've all got tough games as well. So I actually think 37 points will be enough to keep us up. So I'll keep it short because this is my first time, and God knows how people do this properly. Feel free to leave your comments in the section. I'm not sure when or if I'll do one of these again. I'm not sure I'll be guided by you, but you'll be sure to see me popping up while Gary's in and around or not about, or any other time on Carrot and Blues. Don't forget, if you've never watched it before, I'd be surprised, to be fair, but like, subscribe. Hit the dislike button if you don't like what I say. I don't really care, people, to be honest. I don't mind engaging people if you want to be sensible with your answers, but any lunatics I prefer to ignore, because if you want to dig me out personally, it says more about you than it ever does about me. Anyway, be lucky, enjoy yourself, and don't forget, keep the faith, people. It's not over till Karen Brady sings. Ta-da.